Hi, everyone. It's Coach Crystal, and welcome to another episode of the Get Crystallized show. And I'm really, really excited today because we have an amazing guest. Her name is Dr. Rachel Crowley, NMD. She is a board certified naturopathic physician specializing in natural endocrinology with a focus on addressing hormonal imbalances, fatigue, and weight management, which is perfect for you all. Dr. Crowley is passionate in helping professionals and entrepreneurs transform their health so they can reclaim their lives and reach their full potential in business and in life. She is committed to providing the best quality healthcare by taking a holistic and integrative approach to discover the root cause of health issues, develop customized health plans, and to help achieve improved quality of life and optimal health. So please help me welcome Dr. Rachel. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I'm really, really excited because this topic, across the board, 100% of my listeners either have experienced, are experienced, or are dreading to experience burnout. And I know today you're going to talk about the 3 steps to eliminating burnout. Why is that so prevalent especially with women who coming out of this pandemic and things are, this new normal, things are opening up, and man, burnout is so common. Why is that?
Yeah, burnout is common because stress affects our body in many different aspects. Stress is a silent killer. And if it's left unchecked, it can lead to serious health conditions, such as increasing your risk for heart disease, high blood pressure, heart attack, diabetes, gut health issues, and lowering your immune system, making you susceptible to viruses and infections.
Yeah. And now more than ever, right? We need to have strong immune systems. We need to boost those immune systems 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So burnout is a collection of symptoms such as fatigue, sleep struggles, and brain fog, just to name a few. And if it's left unchecked, it can worsen and lead to adrenal fatigue. And adrenal fatigue is a more severe collection of similar symptoms. It's still the fatigue, the sleep struggles, and the brain fog. And it's caused by a cortisol imbalance and an HPA axis deregulation. HPA axis is hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, and these 3 aspects of the body work together. The adrenals produce the cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone, and when there is an HPA axis dysregulation, it can cause a cortisol imbalance, which is the driving force behind low energy and sleep issues. Cortisol is important for the body because you need it to wake up and get throughout the day, but it becomes a problem when it becomes unbalanced. So Crystal, have you experienced any of these symptoms, and can you relate to these? Do you feel exhausted all the time, no matter how much sleep or rest? Struggling to get up in the morning and crashing throughout the day? Feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and struggling to relax? Feeling tired all day yet unable to sleep at night, and relying on caffeine to fuel you throughout the day?
I can definitely resonate with having a crash in the afternoon. And I know, my audience listening now, they're probably saying, yes, 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 check, check, check to all of those things where, they come to me and they feel foggy brained. They recognize that they need better sleep. But their problem is, Dr. Rachel, is they are having a hard time falling asleep. And so what kind of tips can you actually give to my audience members who, yes, I understand, Doc, I get it. I'm sure I'm foggy brained because my sleep is interrupted. I can't even fall asleep. So what kind of practical tips can you give them if they can't even fall asleep in the first place?
Yeah, so what happens is because of all that stress that accumulates throughout the day, it's like when you want to sleep and lay down at night, you're like all those thoughts are just churning through your mind, and it's just stressing you out, and you can't even sleep because of all that stress. So one practical tip would be just to, close your eyes and just meditate and do some deep breathing at night just to help you relax, because it's important to help relaxing, because that will help you to sleep. Even some nice chamomile tea or something that, any bedtime routine that calms you down, like that's an important way just to unwind from that stressful day that you've had.
100%. I definitely agree with that. And inside in our academy, we actually create that nightly routine and do it. Recommend what you said, whether it's meditation, deep breathing. And I find that so many women, because they're feeling overwhelmed and, like you said, they're super high stress, they have a million things going on in their mind. So I say, just have a verbal diarrhea. Put it to pen to paper, get it all out, and then even toss it in the trash and let that kind of symbolize I'm letting it go, because there's nothing I can do about it before I'm about to go to sleep, right? So it's like throw it away, get it out of your system, and then do what you said, what you suggested, maybe some deep breathing exercises. I love, there's a meditation that I listened to that was whom Brendan Burchard recommended. And it's because I know some people have a hard time meditating, but it's literally just really calm, beautiful music. And I can easily fall asleep to that because I focus on my, belly breathing and listening to that music to get my mind off whatever is happening in my head. Right.
Right.
So what are the other steps to help eliminate burnout?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we talked about, so there's the burnout, which can lead, if it's left unchecked, can lead to the adrenal fatigue. And because you're talking about sleep, that's one of the driver of adrenal fatigue, but another driver is the stress. Yeah. So stress, it can be categorized into two. One is your acute high stress, and two is your chronic low level of constant stress. So our bodies, they are adapt to handle short acute stress, the flight or fright, but they're not adept to handle chronic low levels of constant stress. And so when they're in a constant state of stress, it taxes the body and it takes a toll on the body. It can cause dysregulation in the hormonal imbalances. And hormones as a whole, they play a significant role in many aspects, such as mental focus, cognition, cardiovascular health, and metabolism, just to name a few. And they have a symbiotic relationship to each other. So when one hormone is out of balance, it can cause other hormones in cascade to cause effects on other hormones. And so because of the lack of adequate sleep and the lack of the restful sleep that you need for your REM, that together can cause a positive feedback loop and it feeds into each other. And that's not the only type of stress where we have this emotional stress. It's that constant, putting out all the fires all day long. There's other types of stress. And, you're putting out the fires, you have a busy day, you have a lot on your plate, just juggling work-life balance and just the busy, fast-paced life that we lead. So besides the emotional stress, we have other stressors on our bodies, such as the biotoxins and the environmental toxins. Biotoxins are the viruses and bacterial infections in your body, and they can be low grade. So you might not have a fever, but you might be feeling well. It's because it's like a low grade infection. And all of this can cause a myriad of symptoms in your body. Also, there's the biotoxins that also places stress on our body. And they're everywhere. They're heavy metals, the type of products we use, the household, the skincare items. And these toxins place stress. Even the types of food that we eat are inflammatory foods, such as the processed foods. And so our bodies are bombarded with stress on so many different levels, which taxes our body. But there is a holistic approach to addressing and overcoming this adrenal fatigue and this burnout. It's a comprehensive approach and a foundational approach to healing. It's a holistic and integrative approach that first discovering the root cause of fatigue and burnout and customize health plans to help guide you in the journey of healing and achieving optimal health. So here they are. So here are the 3 steps to eliminate burnout. First step is to do functional medicine testing. This is a crucial first step. This is the foundation of understanding where your current health levels are at. Then these tests will aid in discovering the root cause of fatigue. You can check your levels of cortisol, for example, which is your stress hormone, and discover what other hormones that stress has impacted. And this is the building block to starting the journey of rebalancing your hormones. The second step would be optimizing nutrition and nutrients. Optimizing nutrition is a key factor in supporting the body and the process of healing. By having a balanced and nutrient-rich regime, it is one less stress on the body, and it can help heal your body. Don't underestimate the power of food. Hippocrates once said, "Let food be thy medicine." Food is very powerful, and it's medicinal and healing. And there are two aspects of nutrition, which are hydration and blood sugar regulation. Hydration is important to maintaining your electrolytes. If you're drinking coffee regularly just to stay perked and keep awake and with those afternoon crashes, caffeine can be dehydrating to your body. And as a result, it's important to hydrate with water. Blood sugar regulation is another aspect. Can you relate to any of these symptoms? Have you been busy throughout the day that you just forgotten to eat, or you go and you eat so fast? And have you experienced that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, let's just kind of go back. I have a question before we actually dig deep into the nutrition. So that testing that you mentioned, so what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's pretty nice. It's not invasive at all. It's like it's a salivary test.
Okay.
And you look at 4 points throughout the day, from the morning to the night to the evening. And depending on how that graph looks, we can diagnose like what type of stages you're in and how severe the adrenal fatigue is. And then we can have ways to correct that. The more severe it is, the longer it'll take, but there is hope, and you can heal from it and reverse it.
So basically they can, so you would mail kind of like on vials, I'm assuming, and then you would just, or is that how it works? And then you would just put your saliva in the vials and then mail it out?
Exactly.
Okay. And then with that graph, so taking a look at it, what kind of information like would you gather and be like, okay, because you mentioned sometimes it could take long, but there's still hope. Like how does the information kind of demonstrate what you need to do? Like what kind of information do you gather from that?
Right. So it's different curves. So depending on if it's high or low throughout the day. So for example, I personally dealt with adrenal fatigue. And in the morning, your cortisol, as we said, you needed to get up in the morning. So it has to be high in the morning. Mine was barely there. It was non-existent. So it was so hard to get up in the morning. I always felt groggy. I couldn't even get up out of the bed. Every morning I felt hit by the train, and my constant state of being was just tired. And it would take me until like 9 in the morning, a couple of hours after I'm awake, to just feel half awake. So I was always just so exhausted and tired throughout the day. And so depending on how high or low that initial point is and how the rest of the day goes, you'll see the different states you're in, and to see how severe. So mine, for example, was very low and non-existent in the morning. That was very severe when it has to be high in the morning. But I did overcome that, and I did heal from that. So there, like I said, there is hope. So this is just getting a picture of where you are at. And from knowing where you're at, we'll know what kinds of nutrition, what type of supplementation, what type of lifestyle changes we can make to help you feel, to wake up energized in the morning, to not feel so groggy.
Can you give me an example of obviously they would want to be, it would be personalized, but can you just give me an example of, for you, let's take you as an example, knowing that you woke up and your cortisol levels were off and you had zero energy and it took you a while to wake up, what type of supplementation would you take?
Yeah, so there are certain types of supplementations that are really good to help support your adrenal glands. And to be honest, one of it is actually vitamin C. Vitamin C is very important, very supportive, and to your adrenal glands. So that's one of the supplementations I took.
Okay, well, that's one thing that everyone can take away. Is there anything else that, regardless if they have adrenal fatigue or not, would still benefit them in terms of supplementation?
Yeah, so you would have to see another test that we can do is like a micronutrient panel. And that based on that, you'll understand where you are deficient. And from there, we can supplement from there.
I like that because so many of us have really no idea. Like we'll take a multivitamin, but we really don't know what exactly we're deficient in. And we think to ourselves, well, I'm taking vitamins. Why am I not feeling well? So I like that it's really personalized. And you can, diagnose, okay, these are your ebbs and flows in the day. This is where you actually should be to have, that energy levels. And this is what I recommend. So I really, really appreciate that. So in terms of nutrition, I 100% agree with you that it's medicine. I look at it as fuel. And, we should, when, at the very, very basic with our members, we ask them, like, is that food, giving you energy, or is it draining your energy? Right? Very, very simple question to ask up front. So if someone, they come to you and they say to you, well, doc, I'm eating healthy, I eat clean, but I still don't have any energy. Like, what would you do with that person?
Right. So another thing we can do is, looking at what you eat, even though you're eating clean, another thing that can affect, another stressor that can affect us is actually food allergies, but not just the type of food allergies you're thinking, which is like your peanut allergy, which you'll have like hives or a reaction to. This is like a low grade reaction that's causing inflammation in the body.
Yes.
So another thing is we look at the type of foods, like we do another test. That's why I love this type of, there's just so many different tests to really, really investigate and find out what's the root cause, like what's causing the problem. So another test is finding out what's your food allergies. And once we find out your food allergies, then, which can cause inflammation in the body, we work on customizing a nutrition plan. For example, eliminating those inflammatory, even though they're beneficial foods, but it's inflammatory to you. So yes. It's a very, very personalized and very customized. And once we work on taking those inflammatory foods, we're able to help the system and help the body.
100%. I had a test done like that a few years back, and I was sad to hear that I was allergic to almonds, because you think that's a healthy, fat, and you think, oh, almonds, they're good for you. I was actually allergic to it, and it was causing. I was a singer by trade years ago, another lifetime ago, and I noticed that there was like swelling in my throat. I didn't know why. I wasn't sick, and it was the almonds that were actually causing that swelling. And the moment I stopped drinking almond milk and eating almonds, I was able to sing my full range, and I would have no idea that it was almonds were the culprit of that. And my son, he recently did a similar test to that. And it was gluten. That was a big trigger for him. Dairy, which we knew. And now that he's aware of it, he's aware of how his body reacts to it, he's definitely a lot more mindful. And when he'll make better choices, right? That's the thing. If you don't know what you don't know, you're going to eat the thing and you think that it's healthy, but in fact, it might be, like you said, you might have a reaction like inflammation. And you won't know unless you get that testing done. So I really appreciate that. So you've got those two tests, and then what's the next thing?
So as we were talking about, so optimizing your nutrition. So blood sugar regulation is another important factor. So as you said, when you eat quickly or you're not eating throughout the day, that spikes and drops can cause stress, and it's a yo-yoing effect on your body. So just having like balanced meals, having snacks, grazing, it'll keep your blood sugar regularized, and it'll be one less stressed. So as you can see, there's just so many different components of stress than just the stress that we're aware of. Mm-hmm. So it's important to understand all these different mechanisms of these stress so we can work on it and eliminate the stress, not just emotional stress, but all the other stressors on the bodies. And so as we were talking about the nutrients, the stress can cause the micronutrient depletion, and they're essential to the function of our bodies. And the stress, they rob it. So that's why I'm saying, like, even just vitamin C was a really good supplementation for the adrenal fatigue, because it robs it from your system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So true. So true. So we've got the sleep, we've got the nutrition, doing the allergy test. Now I know you mentioned, I mean, especially in this day and age, there are obviously toxins everywhere and hidden in certain products. So is there, do you recommend certain like organic products? Because I know even deodorants and shampoos and down to our makeup. So how do you help your clients deal with that sort of thing?
Yeah. So there is the website Environmental Working Group, ewg.org. So that's a really nice resource because it will give you a lot more information on the different products and the different ingredients. So like I said, yeah, deodorants have aluminum in them, which isn't good for our bodies. So there's so many different things. So the natural, like for example, products in Whole Foods, like those are the more natural and organic type of products, and those are more better and not so much toxins
Right.
into our body.
I just wish they were a little bit stronger. Do you know what I mean? Like the charcoal or it's like, oh, I really wish there was just a little bit, especially with the odor, but I guess, it's all about finding that right one.
Right.
I love it. So any other tips to eliminate burnout?
Yeah. So the last tip, step 3, is to manage your stress levels. So, in this day and age, it's hard. It's a busy paced life. So we're neglecting to take care of ourselves. We're putting all of our energy and focus and time into our businesses, into our families, rather than taking care of ourselves. And it can cause serious consequences. So without health, there is no wealth. And so by keep pushing ourselves through the fatigue, through the exhaustions, we're burning ourselves out. And if we keep doing that, our productivity in business will diminish. It'll have a direct impact on, how you present yourself to your family. You won't have time. You'll just be too exhausted, and you won't present yourself how you want to present yourself. So as you know, there are a few self-care techniques, getting a massage, meditating, all of these self-care techniques, they really lower the stress because they calm you down. And it will help because of all that stress that bombards our bodies and taxes our bodies. We're doing things to combat that.
I love it. I have a membership to make sure that I get a monthly massage. That is non-negotiable, right? So, and I'm going to throw in another way to de-stress, and there's exercise too, right? I love it so much, and because I know that my audience definitely will experience, or dreading experiencing burnout. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Rachel, for all of these amazing nuggets and takeaways. If they want to work with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me at drcrowley.com, and from there they can book a call. And if you like how the information I'm presenting, then we can go ahead and do initial consultation, and I'll be happy to help you on your journey of health.
I love it. I'm sure you agree that health is an investment and not an expense.
Exactly.
Because, without it, what do we have, right? So I want to thank you so much. That was awesome. I love the tips. I really want to encourage my audience, consider even taking bare minimum the allergy test, because you eat so many foods, and you are you might have hit a plateau. You might be feeling inflamed, and you don't know why. I personally think that's a really great place to start, because I've taken that test. My son has taken the test, and it has benefited us so much. So I'm sure if they reach out to you, you can give them more information and lead them in that direction if they want to do that test, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect. Well, I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for sharing your, words of wisdom and your knowledge. Again, those steps, re-listen to this podcast again and again, make your notes down, so that we can eliminate burnout all together. Thank you again, Dr. Rachel.
Thank you so much, Crystal, for having me. I hope this added value and insights on how to take care of our bodies and help heal ourselves.
100%. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time on the Get Crystallized Show.